Tonight we continue our series Crime Without Punishment, where we take a closer look at the disturbing rise in unsolved murders in the U.S. Our investigation uncovered a troubling racial disparity. Murder cases are far less likely to be solved if the victim is Hispanic or Black. Jackson, Mississippi has experienced a spike in killings with more than 150 murders last year alone. About 4 in 10 of those killings remain unsolved. Jim Axelrod went to the capital of our neighboring state to see firsthand the toll these unsolved murders have on the relatives of those who've been killed.
Everyone in this room who has had a member of their family murdered, raise your hand.
When we started calling mothers who'd lost their children to murder in Jackson, Mississippi, word got around, and more than 30 people arrived for our interview.
Put your hands up if you feel like you've had to investigate your own loved one's death.
The pain in this room in Jackson was overwhelming.
They didn't investigate my case.
And more just kept coming, wanting their stories heard.
Even the detective when I talked to them, they hung the phone up in my face.
Willie Mack is himself a former homicide detective at the Jackson Police Department.
Where the ambulance at?
His daughter was shot to death in 2017.
Hang on, how many years were you with Jackson PD?
24 years.
You had 24 years in, and when you call the detective investigating your daughter's death, you don't get your calls returned?
I don't get no call returned.
To understand better the depth of their suffering, we sat down with 3 mothers from the group.
My son, his name is Kenlon Thompson Jr. He was murdered April the 1st, 2021.
Zachary Ryan Robinson. He was murdered on April 29th of 2014.
Ryan, he was murdered November 26, 2020 on Thanksgiving, a day after my birthday.
Margie Allen, Danita Williams, and Lucinda Wade Robinson are talking about their sons, all younger than 22, all gunned down in the city of Jackson, Mississippi. Population, 153,000.
Has there been any arrest made in either of these 3 cases?
No.
Not one arrest?
I was showed a picture of my baby on the side of the road. I was showed some information, and I was told to go solve my own crime.
Go solve your own crime?
And bring them the evidence, and I would take it to them.
In Jackson, the capital of Mississippi, the numbers are stunning. 156 homicides last year, one of the highest per capita homicide rates in the entire country.
Do you feel murder is being treated differently here?
Murder is at the bottom of the totem pole. It's normal. A young black male is going to die tomorrow. We have 3 over the weekend. We can't get to you right now.
The whole system is backlogged.
James Davis is the chief of the Jackson Police Department.
Does not solving homicide cases erode the trust the community has in the police department?
Well, of course, we tell these citizens the truth. We don't tell them that we can solve a case without the facts, you know?
Chief Davis told us Jackson PD's ability to solve murder cases depends on processing evidence at the state crime lab, which he says is overwhelmed.
I can use more police officers. I could use more homicide detectives. But if the state is backed up, the court is backed up, we will still have the same problem by developing these cases that we're already doing.
FBI research suggests homicide detectives should oversee no more than 5 cases per year. Jackson PD has 8 full-time detectives. That's enough for 40 murder investigations. Last year alone, they had nearly 4 times that number.
I don't think any police department in the nation can say that they got enough resources.
Jackson homicide detective Sergeant Kevin Nash works in an office where each desk is piled high with files. He knows that means victims' relatives aren't going to like the pace of solving their loved one's murder.
Sergeant Nash, I talked to him and he said, well, you know, a lot of y'all come down here and act like y'all children are perfect. I said, no. I said, first of all, I'm not acting like my child is perfect, but my child did not deserve to be killed in the street.
But Sergeant Nash says he and his colleagues are doing the best they can.
I'll be honest with you, when your loved one is killed, you can never do enough to solve that case. I call them back when I'm available. It may not be right then when they want to, And remember, if this was your child, you want immediate answers too.
I will always tell you that the Jackson Police Department can do a better job.
Jackson Mayor Chokwe Antar Lumumba knows all too well what unsolved crime can do to a family.
My brother was shot in the head in Jackson, Mississippi. So we're no friend of crime, right? And no one was ever arrested for that.
But points out his police department makes arrests in 6 out of 10 cases, above the national average.
I get the feeling no matter how often you talk about it, the tears don't stop.
No, no.
You just lay in bed at night and just cry all night, and you get up and try to fight more to get justice for your child. It's too much.
Turns out that 3 weeks after we visited, Jackson police made arrests in the case of Margie Allen's son a year and a half after his murder. Jackson PD told us it was simply a long investigation and they just kept following the leads. Tomorrow, we'll bring you our 3rd story in the series, which takes us to Baltimore to focus on possible solutions to help police solve more murder cases. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, New York.